Picture yourself walking through ancient Rome on a warm evening. The crowded streets are beginning to empty, shopkeepers are closing their stalls, and the sounds of wagons echo between stone buildings. Then someone grabs your arm and quietly warns you that your name has appeared on a cursed tablet. Instantly, your stomach drops. In Rome, this was not a joke. A single scratched name on a piece of lead could make an entire family panic. People believed unseen forces were already moving against the victim. A wealthy merchant sits alone in his courtyard after hearing the rumor. Earlier that morning, one of his servants claimed to have seen a folded lead tablet hidden near a cemetery wall. The merchant tries to dismiss the story, yet he cannot stop thinking about it. His business has suffered losses all week. One shipment vanished. A trusted employee suddenly quit. Were these ordinary setbacks or signs that a curse had already begun its work? Fear grows stronger when coincidence starts looking like evidence. Not far away, beneath the flickering light of an oil lamp, a woman carefully scratches words into a thin sheet of lead. Her hand trembles with anger. She believes a neighbor cheated her family in a property dispute. Unable to win through the courts, she turns to darker methods. Line by line, she writes the man's name and asks underworld spirits to punish him. To modern eyes, it seems strange. To many Romans, it was simply another way of seeking justice. When the writing is complete, the woman folds the tablet several times. The lead bends with a dull metallic crack. She drives a small iron nail through its center. The act is symbolic. Just as the nail pierces the metal, she hopes misfortune will pierce the life of her enemy. Every movement follows a ritual that countless others have performed before. The curse is no longer a thought. It has become a physical object carrying hatred, fear, and desperate hope. Long after midnight, she leaves her home and walks toward the outskirts of the city. The streets are darker now. Most citizens avoid wandering at this hour. She passes silent shrines and abandoned alleyways before reaching a burial ground. Romans believed places connected to death were powerful gateways to supernatural forces. The dead were thought to hear messages that the living could not. The cemetery is not chosen by accident. It is considered the perfect destination for a curse. Kneeling beside an old grave, she digs into the soil with trembling hands. The night air feels colder than before. Every distant sound seems louder. She places the folded tablet into the earth and covers it carefully. In her mind, spirits beneath the ground will soon discover the message. She whispers a final request before leaving. Behind her remains nothing but disturbed dirt, yet she believes an invisible chain of events has already been set into motion. Days later, the cursed man hears rumors spreading through the neighborhood. Someone claims a tablet bearing his name was found near a tomb. Another swears they witnessed strange rituals after sunset. Whether the stories are true hardly matters. Anxiety takes hold immediately. He begins examining every problem in his life through a new lens. A headache becomes a sign. A failed business deal becomes a warning. Fear often grows fastest when certainty disappears. Roman society was filled with uncertainty. Disease appeared without warning. Crops failed. Fires destroyed entire neighborhoods. Sudden deaths were common. In a world lacking modern explanations, curses offered answers. When disaster struck, people searched for a hidden cause. Perhaps an enemy was responsible. Perhaps a jealous rival had spoken to dark powers. Belief in curses flourished because daily life itself felt unpredictable. The supernatural helped explain events that otherwise seemed random and terrifying. Archaeologists have discovered hundreds of real curse tablets across former Roman territories. Many contain names, personal grievances, and requests for divine punishment. Some target thieves, others attack romantic rivals, a few even demand suffering, illness, or death. These discoveries reveal something remarkable. Curses were not rare practices performed by a handful of eccentrics. They were woven into ordinary life. Merchants, laborers, lovers, and gamblers all participated in a hidden world of supernatural revenge. As dawn rises over Rome, countless citizens begin another day of trading, arguing, worshiping, and surviving. Yet beneath their feet lies a secret landscape of buried tablets, whispered rituals, and silent threats. The fear of curses touches every level of society, from slaves to senators. What makes this even more unsettling is that many Romans did not merely believe curses existed. They believed the dead themselves could carry those messages into the darkness beyond the grave. And that belief was only the beginning. Fear of curses created something unexpected in ancient Rome, an entire underground industry. Not everyone knew how to communicate with spirits or perform complicated rituals. Many citizens believed a poorly written curse might fail completely. As a result, people began seeking specialists. Hidden behind ordinary storefronts and modest homes were men and women who claimed to know the secret language of the gods, the dead, and the underworld. Their services were expensive, mysterious, and often in high demand. A desperate chariot racing fan slips through a narrow alley before sunrise. He has lost a fortune betting on races. His favorite team keeps losing. Convinced that supernatural forces are involved, he visits a professional curse maker. The room smells of smoke and oil. Strange symbols cover the walls. The client hands over several coins and quietly names the rival team he wants destroyed. Victory in the arena could mean wealth and prestige. To some Romans, hearing a curse expert seemed like a worthwhile investment. The curse maker listens carefully and asks detailed questions. Names matter, details matter. The more specific the target, the more powerful the ritual is believed to become. The practitioner records the names of drivers, horses, and team owners. Nothing is left to chance. The client watches nervously as preparations begin. What he purchases is not simply a written curse. He's paying for expertise, reputation, and access to forces he believes ordinary people cannot control. On a wooden table lies an assortment of unusual objects: thin sheets of lead, small iron nails, animal bones, fragments of pottery, tiny lamps burning low flames. Each item carries symbolic meaning. The curse maker selects them with deliberate care. To outsiders, the collection might appear random. To believers, every object serves a specific purpose. The ritual resembles a carefully assembled machine, with each component helping direct supernatural power toward a chosen victim. As darkness falls, the practitioner begins writing. The words are not always simple Latin. Some inscriptions contain strange phrases, mysterious names, and unfamiliar symbols. Historians believe many of these words were intentionally obscure. The stranger the language appeared, the more powerful it seemed. Clients often could not understand what was being written. That only increased their confidence. Mystery itself became part of the product. The less ordinary the ritual looked, the more convincing it became. Not all customers sought revenge. Some arrived with broken hearts. A young woman desperate for affection might commission a love curse. She hopes a distant admirer will become obsessed with her. Another client wishes to break apart a rival relationship. Emotions fuel the ritual. Jealousy, longing, resentment, and desperation become valuable commodities. The curse maker transforms private feelings into written commands directed at unseen powers. Love and hatred often occupied the same dark marketplace. One evening, a wealthy businessman enters carrying a serious concern. Valuable merchandise has disappeared from his warehouse. The thief remains unknown. Rather than relying solely on legal authorities, he turns to supernatural assistance. He pays for a curse targeting whoever stole the goods. The tablet demands sleepless nights, sickness, and misery until the culprit returns what was taken. In Roman society, curses often functioned as an alternative form of justice when conventional solutions seemed ineffective. The most respected practitioners carefully cultivated their reputations. Stories circulated throughout neighborhoods about successful curses. Perhaps a dishonest merchant suddenly fell ill. Perhaps a gambler's luck vanished after angering the wrong person. Whether these events were coincidence hardly mattered. Every rumor strengthened the practitioner's status. Fear became advertising. The more frightening the stories grew, the more clients appeared at the door seeking supernatural assistance against enemies both real and imagined. Despite their popularity, curse makers operated within a dangerous space. Roman authorities occasionally viewed magical practices with suspicion. Certain emperors feared secret rituals could be used against powerful figures. Accusations of harmful magic sometimes led to investigations and punishment. As a result, many practitioners worked discreetly. Meetings occurred after dark. Clients arrived quietly. Transactions remained private. The business survived by staying partially hidden, existing in the shadows between public belief and official disapproval. As another night settles over Rome, dozens of secret rituals unfold across the city. In dimly lit rooms, names are scratched into lead. Coins exchange hands. Prayers are whispered toward unseen forces. For many Romans, these practitioners are not entertainers or frauds. They are specialists offering real solutions to real problems. Yet the growing popularity of professional curse makers raises an unsettling question. If ordinary citizens feared curses so deeply, what happened when even the gods themselves seemed willing to listen? For many Romans, a curse was never meant to work alone. The lead tablet was only a message. Someone had to receive it. Someone had to carry out the punishment. This belief led people toward a frightening conclusion. The most effective curses were those delivered directly to the powers ruling the world of the dead. A person seeking revenge was not simply writing angry words. They were attempting to recruit supernatural forces capable of reaching places no living enemy could escape. Near the edge of the city stands an ancient cemetery. Rows of tombs stretch into the darkness. During daylight, mourners visit quietly, leaving flowers and offerings. At night, however, the atmosphere changes completely. Shadows gather between weathered stones. The silence feels heavier. Many Romans believed cemeteries were not merely resting places for the dead. They were gateways. The boundaries separating the living from the underworld seemed thinner here, making these locations ideal for dangerous ritual. A young man arrives carrying a folded curse tablet hidden beneath his cloak. His rival has humiliated him publicly and damaged his reputation. Legal action offers little satisfaction. Revenge consumes his thoughts. He kneels beside a recently sealed grave, believing that a newly buried soul might still be connected to both worlds. The dead person is a stranger, yet he hopes their spirit will act as a messenger, delivering his request deep into the underworld. The tablet contains more than a simple complaint. It includes direct appeals to powerful underworld beings. Roman curse tablets often called upon mysterious deities associated with death, darkness, and vengeance. The writer carefully lists names believed to command respect beyond the grave. Every word is chosen to attract attention. The goal is not merely to express anger. The goal is to convince supernatural forces that intervening in a personal dispute is worth their time. Some rituals involved offerings. Small amounts of wine are poured onto the ground. Honey drips into the soil. Fragments of food are left behind. These gifts are not random gestures. Romans often believed spirits could receive and appreciate offerings. By presenting something valuable, the individual hopes to gain favor. The exchange resembles a negotiation. The living provide tribute while the dead provide assistance. The relationship is built upon obligation, expectation, and fear. Among the most frightening beliefs was the idea that restless spirits could be persuaded to act on behalf of the living. Not every soul was thought to rest peacefully. Those who died violently, unexpectedly, or without proper burial were considered especially dangerous. Such spirits might remain trapped between worlds. Curse rituals sometimes sought to harness this unrest. A vengeful ghost was viewed as a potentially powerful ally against an unsuspecting enemy. In a dim chamber illuminated by a single oil lamp, a practitioner recites names repeatedly. The rhythm is slow and deliberate. Each repetition is believed to strengthen the connection between the curse and its target. The atmosphere feels tense. Smoke drifts through the room. Symbols cover nearby surfaces. Whether supernatural forces are present cannot be proven. Yet everyone involved behaves as though invisible listeners stand just beyond the edge of the light. Roman stories were filled with warnings about offending the dead. Families carefully maintained tombs and honored ancestors through rituals. Neglecting these responsibilities could invite misfortune. Because respect for the dead already occupied an important place in Roman culture, the idea of angry spirits influencing the living felt believable. A curse did not require people to abandon their worldview. Instead, it expanded upon fears that many citizens already carried throughout their daily lives. The power of a curse often came from imagination as much as ritual. Once a victim learned they had been targeted, every setback appeared suspicious. Every illness seemed connected. Every nightmare felt significant. The belief that underworld forces were actively working against them could become psychologically overwhelming. In this way, curses sometimes achieved results without any supernatural intervention at all. Fear transformed ordinary events into evidence that unseen enemies were closing in. As midnight approaches, countless graves remain scattered across the Roman world, from Britain to North Africa and beyond. Beneath some of them lie folded tablets carrying names, grievances, and demands for revenge. Those who buried them believed the dead could hear, understand, and act. Yet despite all the fear surrounding these rituals, another mystery remained. If curses were so powerful, why did even emperors, generals, and the wealthiest citizens sometimes fear becoming their targets? The answer reveals just how deeply the terror of curses had penetrated Roman society. Fear of curses was not limited to the poor, the desperate, or the uneducated. It reached the highest levels of Roman society. Even among senators, military commanders, and wealthy elites, stories of supernatural attacks circulated constantly. Power could protect a person from thieves and political rivals, but it offered no guaranteed defense against unseen forces. The idea that an enemy could secretly bury a curse tablet somewhere in the darkness made many influential Romans deeply uneasy. Inside a lavish villa decorated with marble columns and expensive artwork, a senator studies a troubling report. A servant claims to have discovered strange symbols carved near the property. Another insists that a folded piece of lead was found hidden beneath a staircase. The senator tries to appear calm, yet suspicion begins spreading through the household. Which rival is responsible? Is this a genuine threat or a cruel attempt at intimidation? Uncertainty becomes its own form of punishment. Political life in Rome was notoriously dangerous. Alliances shifted constantly. Friends became enemies overnight. Ambitious individuals searched for every possible advantage. In such an environment, accusations of magical attacks could easily flourish. If a politician suddenly fell ill, some suspected poison. Others suspected curses. If an important decision ended in disaster, rumors often followed. The supernatural offered explanations for events that seemed too strange, too sudden, or too devastating to be mere coincidence. Roman emperors themselves sometimes worried about magic and divination. Throughout the empire's history, certain rulers ordered investigations into astrologers, fortune tellers, and individuals accused of practicing harmful rituals. These actions reveal an important truth. Authorities did not always dismiss supernatural fears. On the contrary, some leaders viewed them seriously enough to justify surveillance and punishment. Whether they believed completely or simply feared public panic, the threat of curses remained impossible to ignore. Imagine an emperor lying awake long after midnight. Beyond the palace walls stretches a vast empire containing millions of people. Some admire him, others hate him. Somewhere, perhaps hundreds of miles away, an enemy could be whispering his name over a cursed tablet. The emperor may command armies and fleets, yet he cannot monitor every hidden ritual. This possibility, however unlikely, illustrates why supernatural fears could affect even the most powerful individuals in Roman society. Centuries pass, temples collapse, roads crumble, entire cities disappear beneath layers of soil. The Roman Empire fades into history, yet the cursed tablets remain hidden underground. Buried in graves, wells, shrines, and forgotten corners of ancient settlements, they wait silently for future discovery. Their creators are long dead, their targets are forgot. Nevertheless, the messages survive. The fears that inspired them remain preserved within thin sheets of lead, protected by time itself. Archaeologists eventually begin uncovering these strange objects. One after another, folded tablets emerge from the earth. Some contain requests for justice. Others demand revenge. Many mention specific names. A few include incredibly personal details about stolen property, broken relationships, and bitter rivalries. These discoveries transform our understanding of Roman life. They reveal ordinary emotions hidden beneath grand historical narratives. Behind every tablet stands a real person struggling with anger, fear, jealousy, or desperation. One of the most fascinating aspects of these discoveries is their consistency. Similar curse tablets appear across enormous distances. From distant provinces to major Roman cities, people practiced remarkably comparable rituals. This suggests that belief in curses was not a small local tradition. It formed part of a broader cultural phenomenon stretching throughout much of the Roman world. Different regions possessed unique customs, yet the fear of supernatural retaliation connected them in surprising ways. Modern readers often wonder whether Romans truly believed these curses worked. The evidence suggests many absolutely did. Their actions demonstrate genuine concern. They spent money commissioning tablets. They performed rituals carefully. They buried objects in meaningful locations. Most importantly, they worried about becoming victims themselves. A society does not invest such time and effort into something it considers entirely meaningless. For countless Romans, curses occupied a space somewhere between religion, psychology, and everyday reality. Today, when we look back at ancient Rome, we often picture mighty legions, magnificent architecture, and powerful emperors. Yet beneath that image existed another world, a darker and far more personal one. It was a world of whispered names, hidden tablets, restless spirits, and secret acts of revenge. The fear of curses survived because it touched universal human emotions: envy, betrayal, loss, hope, and the desire for justice. Thousands of years later, those thin sheets of lead still carry a chilling message from the past. Even in one of history's greatest civilizations, many people believed that the most dangerous enemy was not standing before them. It was the unseen force they feared might already be coming for them from the darkness.